Global. And today I want to talk to you about something pretty transformational, actually. Must be about 8 years ago now. What are we in? 2021, maybe 9 years ago. Ooh, that's scary. 9 years ago, I learned a trick, I suppose, a trick that completely transformed the way I worked in my practice. And this trick is something that helps you take away fear and make decisions. So before I dive in and share with you what you need to focus on, let me know if you're live, hashtag live. Let me know if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. And let's have a look at what really holds us back when it comes to growing our accounting practice. And there are a number of different things. Mindset is definitely something that really stops you from growing your practice, because your mindset and the stories that you tell yourself stops you from taking action. Another thing that's really important when it comes to growing your practice is having really good knowledge. So something that stops you from having, the practice you truly desire is you don't necessarily have the knowledge, not in how to do the work, because you're great at doing the work. You don't have the knowledge in how to grow the practice or how to put in the systems, or you don't know. You sit there and you procrastinate and pontificate over which software to use, and you worry about how you're going to get clients, so you take on those horrendous referrals that then question you on price and don't actually pay your worth. So that really holds you back as well. So your mindset holds you back, lack of knowledge holds you back, confidence, which I suppose comes under mindset, holds you back, and also knowing what's the right thing and the wrong thing to do. So maybe you know lots of things about marketing, maybe you feel super confident when it comes to getting clients, maybe you feel super confident about, I can and I will get software, but the thing that kind of holds you back is, are you making the right decision? How do you know if you're making the right decision? How can you make decisions really quickly without A, questioning yourself, B, second guessing, letting it sit in your mind and really worrying about it all the time? How do you make these decisions? How do you make decisions on your own without having to ask anyone? And as I said, I learned a 3-question rule to make decisions. I was talking about it yesterday on the Get Clients Now Q&A call, and I was helping Karim with it, and he was really, really struggling to decide on who was an ideal client. So we use these 3 questions to overcome that problem. How do you find out who's an ideal client? You ask yourself these 3 questions. I'm actually going to use an example of chocolate when I share these 3 questions with you. I'm going to use an example of chocolate to show you how these 3 questions will help you and me make a decision as to whether you're going to eat that huge bar of dairy milk chocolate. All right. So there is a huge bar of dairy milk chocolate in front of me, and I absolutely know I want to eat it. I really want it. I want it. But my body does not need it. So I have to take myself out of my heart and go, oh, yum, 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 I want to eat all that chocolate, and put myself into my head and make a logical decision about whether I'm going to eat this chocolate. Now, how do I make that logical decision? Well, I ask myself these 3 questions, and at the end of it, I will know whether or not I'm going to eat that piece of chocolate in front of me. So, number 1, what's the best thing that will happen if I eat this chocolate? Okay, the best thing that will happen if I eat this chocolate is I'm going to get a rush of endorphins. I'm going to absolutely love it. It's going to taste amazing. I'm going to feel all warm and fuzzy, and it's going to be about 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes of being on a high. Okay, so if I eat that chocolate, I'll get a 5-minute high, and my taste buds will have a sweet hit, and that will make me feel good. All right, so what's the best thing that will happen if I eat that chocolate? That's the best thing that will happen. What's the worst thing that will happen if I eat that chocolate? Well, the worst thing is I'm going to eat that chocolate, feel really, really, really sick, not enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to enjoy it. I might get a short hit, but the worst thing that will happen is that I'm going to put on weight. It's as simple as that. Eating a huge bar of dairy milk chocolate will make me fat. And one of the things that we talk about in our programs is the compound effect. And the compound effect, if I had a bar of chocolate every single day for the rest of the next 3 years, I'd end up putting on something like 40 pounds or something like that. So the worst thing that will happen is I will get super, super fat. All right. Then the third question. So what's the best thing that will happen? What's the worst thing that will happen if I eat this chocolate? What's the likeliest thing? Well, the likeliest thing that will happen if I eat that chocolate is I will get 5 minutes of endorphin hit and I will feel great. But the long-term effect, the long tail of having that chocolate will make me fat. Now, what do I want more? A 5-minute hit, or do I want to be skinny? And nothing tastes so good as the feeling of being skinny. So to make a decision about whether or not I'm going to eat that chocolate, or to make a decision about what ideal client I'm going to target, to make a decision about whether or not I'm going to do this piece of marketing or this piece of marketing, or watch a series on Netflix, I use the 3-question rule. Let's use it for search engine optimization. All right, I'll give you an example using search engine optimization. What's the best thing that will happen if I invest £500 a month to an agency to help me with my search engine optimization? Well, the best thing that will happen is I will get some leads in from Google. Okay, the best thing that will happen is I'll get some leads. What is the worst thing that will happen? Well, actually, there's 2 things when it comes to search engine optimization, because one is getting leads, the second is quality of leads. So the worst thing that will happen is that I don't get any leads, or even worse than no leads through search engine optimization is getting leads but getting really poor ones and having them question you on price and growing the wrong practice. So investing in search engine optimization, the worst thing that can happen is that it works, it gets you leads, but they're really bad leads, and then you're going to grow a horrendous monster practice. You're going to hate working in it, you're going to work too hard, and it's just going to be a nightmare, and you're not going to make any money. So the worst thing that happens with search engine optimization is actually that you're going to build the wrong kind of practice. The best thing is that you're going to get some leads, but we all know that leads through Google, the quality of them can be very, very poor. So the best thing is that you get leads. The worst thing is that you grow the worst practice in the world. What's the likeliest thing that would happen if you invested £500 a month into search engine optimization? Well, the likeliest thing is you get a few leads, they'll question you on price, you'll take on a couple of crappy clients, pardon my French, and you won't have grown your practice that you truly desire, the freedom practice you truly desire. So when it comes to investing in search engine optimization, we have to do the 3-question, best thing, worst thing, likeliest thing, and make a decision and go, do you know what? I'm not going to spend £500 a month on SEO. And whenever you're making any decision, whether it's about marketing, whether it's about a piece of software, whether it's about chocolate, as I gave the example about chocolate, those 3 questions will enable you to self-coach yourself and come up with an answer that enables you to go, do you know what? I'm confident in my decision-making process. And if you get stuck, you can then do that self-coaching process, and you can then maybe go and ask someone and say, these are my options, okay? Because it's a lot easier for someone to help you if they know what's the best thing that will happen, what's the worst thing, what's the likeliest. So you can get support from other people. But the most amazing thing about this self-coaching is it does work. And the more you work it, the better it will be. Any decision in life, okay? So let's talk about children for a minute. My daughter is 16. She wants to go up to London with her friends, and I'm a little bit iffy about that. It's maybe half an hour, 40 minutes on the train. We're still got corona. I don't like her traveling up to London anyway. She's only ever done it with me. She's never been with her friends. So how would I make that decision? What's the best thing that will happen if Annabelle goes up to London with her friends? Well, the best thing, she'll have an amazing time. She'll come home safe. She won't catch corona, and everybody's a win-win-win. What's the worst thing that will happen? Well, I don't even want to think about the worst thing, but the worst thing is she could catch corona, or the worst thing, she could be kidnapped, or she could be stabbed, or all these awful things. What's the likeliest thing to happen? Well, then I have to look at statistics and data and all of the things that are sensible. So I don't make a head decision. I don't make a heart decision. Sorry, I don't make a heart decision. I make a head decision. And how do I decide that? Well, I look and go, what's the likelihood of her being kidnapped when she's with all of her friends, including her boyfriend, who they literally are attached like this all the time? So what's the likeliest thing that will happen? Well, she'll be fine when it comes to that. Corona, well, I've trained her really well to wash her hands, so she should be absolutely fine. Being naughty, she's a really good girl, so she won't probably get into trouble. So then all of the bad things will be external to her, and I can't control those. So the likeliest thing to happen is she'll go up to London, she'll have a whale of a time, and she'll come back home. She's at an age where she can do it. So what do? I make the decision and let her go to London. Now, what's really interesting is I hadn't made that decision until I talked it through with you guys. So it's amazing how asking yourself those questions, best thing, worst thing, likeliest thing. So whether it comes to chocolate, whether it comes to doing SEO, whether it comes to letting your daughter go to London, or whether or not it is all about growing your practice, whatever decision you have to make, those 3 questions: what's the best thing, what's the worst thing, what's the likeliest thing that will happen if I make this decision, then you can start to self-coach. Now, another thing, like this is a bonus tip when it comes to these 3 questions. And I know that I'm talking about it a lot, but it's really important because this will transform your entire life. All right. So think about what's the best thing, worst thing, and likeliest thing that will happen if I send Annabelle up to London. Now let's do best thing, worst thing, and likeliest thing if I don't let her go. Okay, so we can flip it. So if I say to Annabelle, no, you're not going, what's the best thing that will happen if I say, no, you're not going? Well, the best thing that will happen is that she won't get too grumpy and she won't hold it against me. What's the worst thing that will happen? All her friends will go. They'll have an amazing time. She'll get really angry at me. She will not understand. We will have a little bit of friction in our relationship, which then will have a knock-on effect with every other decision we have to make. It means that she decides to leave home. Like, I'm really going into this now, but she decides to leave home really early. I lose my relationship with my daughter and everything's a disaster. Okay, that's the worst thing. What's the likeliest thing that will happen is all her friends will go. She'll be really angry at me. She would have missed out on a great opportunity for what? My fear. Okay, and unjustified fear. So we can look at things in that way. So it's a really powerful, like, I cannot explain to you how powerful these 3 questions are. And you can look at them for the best case scenario, you can look at them for the worst case scenario. But if you self-coach yourself in this way, you will make excellent decisions. Now, if you have been looking at joining Momentum or Get Clients Now and you've been sat on the fence, I want you to use these 3 questions. What's the best thing that will happen if you join my program? Well, you'll create a freedom practice. What's the worst thing that will happen? You'll invest £1,500 and you'll lose it. That's the worst thing. What's the likeliest thing? You'll make that £1,500 back because it comes with a guarantee in Get Clients Now. I guarantee to give you double your money back if you don't make any money doing my program. So this 3-question loop is so important to enable you to make really good head decisions and not those heart decisions and not live in fear. All right, I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope this was useful. Let me know if you were live, #live or #replay, and let me know what is your biggest takeaway from the 3-question loop. What's the best thing, the worst thing, and likeliest thing to happen? All right, I'll catch up with you in the next video. See you all soon. Bye.